And it's part of the colonialism that we're going to talk about. Thank you for being here. My name is Anthony Owusu-Ansah, and I was born in Ghana. What I'm going to talk about is more historical, but I would like to talk about the things I have seen growing up. I grew up in Ghana in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2018. So I can easily talk about those things. Anything behind me, nope. But at least between that time to this present day, I have seen a lot. I have seen a lot in terms of what the white man has done for the black people. Growing up, you'll be surprised to know, and I was trying to get some YouTubes for you to listen to, but you'll be surprised to know that when I was about 6 years, I could sing this song. I couldn't read books, but I could sing this in soprano and alto. Free. Can anyone do anyone know anything about this? This from Handel. Holy Adam. They taught us this. We were told to be obedient. We were told to go to church. I grew up Catholic. If you didn't go to church, serve at mass, and sing in the choir, no food for you. Oh, I knew this 6 years. Even before I could read the books. I knew about Lord, Lord, Almighty. That kind of stuff. My voice is all gone. But at 6, you could imagine, I could sing this way up there. So, how did we get to this point? Those of you who have been in Ghana, maybe have gone to Cape Coast, know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so chilling to get into Cape Coast Castle, and then they throw you into one of those rooms downstairs, where a small place, not as big as this room, about a quarter of this room, not even half of this room, a third. Then we have about three times the size of the people we have here stuffed in there, waiting to be transported out across the coast to the New World, so-called New World. So we have gone through so much. The impact of colonialism is too much. I was not part of this team, but what brought me in here? During a meeting, a staff meeting, or faculty meeting, something came up, and I had to talk to Dr. Pogue about it, because somebody had made a derogatory comment about Africans coming from somewhere out there across the ocean. And my response was that, yes, we didn't come from that place. We are humans too. So my response today is not to insult anyone, not to say anything derogatory about anyone, because as black kids growing up, we're told to be 3 things: humble, humility, humble. Those are the 3 things. Be humble, humility, humble, obedient, respect. That's all. And we have grown with it. At my age, right now, I'm 60. I cannot run away from it. It's part of my being. And I want to show it. And I show it every day. That's the way we are. There's nothing wrong with that. Growing up, I lived in what you call a project. For those of you who have been in Kumasi, Ghana, there are two places where we call South Centreso and North Centreso. I grew up in North. Now, North is such that we have A section through U section. And it's only 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms with a hall. My stepfather and my mother had 10 kids after me. All 11 of us were in those rooms. Imagine, boy. We didn't have toilet that would go out with water. Nope. Nothing. 1 bathroom. We created our own kitchen. This is how we grew up. So when people tell us that, yes, we are nothing, it goes down into our being. We feel it. But at least we are here. And then I see the fact that when some of us come over here, we feel that, yes, we have brothers and sisters over here who will be part of us. So that's why I accepted to be here. This is Africa. This is the Africa we know today. Can you put the light off a little bit for me? No. Nope. Oh, okay, that's fine. This is the Africa we know today. Please look at all the black lines in here. This is not what Africa was. Africa had kingdoms. We had everything. You can go from here, Dakar, across the Sahara to Asmara, right? And then you can start off here from Alexandria down to Cape Town or Port Elizabeth. Rich heritage, rich people, people who know what. But for some reason, the white man came over from where? Just look at them, right here. Right. They all run over here, they overrun us, they overrun us, they overrun us, and they went around the whole continent. One thing, Africa can pick United States 2 times. The size can take even 2 or 3 times. Or we can America in there, and we can put India in there, and we can put Brazil in there. Right? Africa has oil all over. It has what? It has what? Gold. It has diamond. It has everything that you can think about. This country right here may be the poorest, but it's the richest. This one right here, Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, is the richest, but it is the poorest. It has everything imaginable. Right. We have the cocoa, we have everything. Cocoa comes from these 2 places right here. Well, we don't have cocoa factories. I mean, we cannot turn cocoa into chocolate. I went to Ukraine, and everywhere we have chocolate restaurants. You go to a restaurant that sells chocolate, and they can give you any brand of chocolate you want. And I asked them, where do you get your cocoa? They started laughing at me. And one asked me, where do you come from? So, well, just look at me, and you should know where I came from. Right? They had cocoa factories, chocolate factories everywhere. When on my flight back to Amsterdam, I had chocolates like that. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire can't do that kind of chocolates. What is the problem? That's what bothers some of us. All right, so this is what we have right now. We've been carved out. We've been carved out. Right, we've been divided. They have imposed barrier, what do you call it, borders or whatever they call it, all over the place. And it doesn't make any sense. The people down here, the Yorubas down here, speak the same language as the people here in Benin. That's correct. The people here on this side of Togo speak the same Ewe as those who speak like that. The guys over here in Togo, Lome, are the same people here, speak the same language, the same traditions, the same religion, everything. Right? You go back to Ghana, right here, the people here, the Sehouis and all that, dress the same way as the guys here in Cote d'Ivoire. And it goes on and on and on and on. So why do we need all those barriers and borders? We don't need that. Just because the big man came over and then did what? Made these people French. Made these people English. French, 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 English. French, French, German, whatever it is. And in some places, they say they speak Portuguese. Whoa, really? Okay, Portuguese right here. And French. And then Sudan, yes, Sudan can split into two. The guys up here have light skin, so they are better than the guys in Darfur. They are black, just like black, that's it. So the black here are inferior. But the whites here, so-called whites over here, are superior. And it goes on. Stretch down a little bit and you have the Ethiopians. That's a different set of people altogether. But one thing we should know that, well, we have a whole lot of kingdoms out here. Right. Kingdoms stretching from Senegal across to Ghana, to Nigeria, and all those places, even down to Uganda, and even down here to Botswana, Basutoland, now Lesotho, Swaziland, and then even Namibia and all those places. We had kings, we have chiefs who ruled the land. Now, their political clout all gone because they sided with the colonizers to sell our land to them in return for God knows what. So let's move on. Now I tried to define colonialism so that we can say more about that. The policy or practice of acquiring full or partial control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. Basically, that's it. When they built the castles, that's all they wanted to do. They wanted people to be able to cross over to the newfound lands and do something that will help them get more money. Work on the sugarcane factory, sugarcane plantations and things like that. All right. So that's what we have out there. I'm not going to read all these, but at least a few points are very instructive here. Most of these things have started, like John said, in the 1800s, no, even 1700s, 1800s, and 1900s. Slavery was okay with them, but they fought slavery and then cut it out. So no slavery this time. So if there's no slavery, then we'll go back and get something. Why? They have gold, they have cocoa, they have uranium. We have uranium in Africa, folks. The country with the uranium deposits is the poorest in the world. Chad. How many of you know about what Chad is? Where is it? Nobody even knows that. The French took hold of everything, mined uranium, and then sold it out for the nuclear factories, whatever it is. Right. And then the Chadians don't have anything. They sleep in huts. And people make notes of that. Oh, they can't go back to their huts. Well. Some of us lived in huts, but still, we are still human. Yes, we live in huts, but we are still human. No offense at all. Yes. But the fact is, don't other people in other countries also live in huts? They do. With all, just drive out 20, 30 miles or 40 miles out of the high rises and all the glades in all the cities around the world. You see huts over there. Where? London, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. Yeah. The same way you go to Accra, yes, the same kind of glitz and glamour, high rises, moved about 50 miles out, or huts and villages. That's correct. That is how the world is. So you can see in the table, it tells you clearly that by the early 20th century, however, much of Africa, except Ethiopia and Liberia, had been colonized by European powers. But do we see Ethiopia and Liberia the same way now? No. They have been recolonized in a way. So what went wrong? Maybe during the question and answer session, I'll be asking that. So the European imperialist push into Africa was motivated by three factors: economic, political, and social. And for me, the economic part was the biggest part. Now, in order to get economic part moving, their political agenda should have been in place so that they can get the others working. Now, in order to do that, they came in with so-called Christianity. They came in with technology, like warfare done with powerful guns. And we had machetes and spears. We couldn't fight that. So they would just wipe us out. For those of you who have learned Ashanti history, you would know that one of our Ashanti kings was grabbed and taken to Seychelles Island because he was causing a lot of trouble. Yes. Right. And then if you heard about the Egyptian queen, Yasantua, she was the only woman who could fight the white guys. All the chiefs, the males, ran away. The women did it. But they still succeeded in picking the king and threw him down into Seychelles. Of course, he came back only to die. So we need to be very careful about that. So I picked this point right here, that this whole idea of colonization developed in the 19th century following the collapse and profitability of the slave trade, its abolition and suppression, as well as the expansion of the European capitalists into the revolution. And that is the core of everything. So what were they looking for? There was a demand for raw materials, the search for guaranteed markets and profitable investment outlets. And then the actual fact was for the intrusion is economic. Again, I think I've talked about this. The 19th century becoming a period of change. Of course, there were a lot of stiff resistance from locals, but still we couldn't fight them because they were superior. And because they were superior, you could see one thing. One of the richest gold mines in Africa is only 40 miles away from Kumasi. If anybody has gone there or heard about Obuasi, Obuasi is just south of Kumasi. The richest, before even the South Africans even got theirs. Now, when I was growing up, Obuasi had all those hills around it. The locals who went 1 mile down to dig the gold lived in very poor quarters out there. The white man who was the supervisor or whatever lived on top of the hill. That was it. Now, I've heard that all the hills have been taken down for more gold. So very soon, by the time I go home, there will be no Obuasi again because all the hills are gone. So we need to be very careful about what's going on. Is colonization gone? Nope, it's still there. So this is what they did. The colonial state was the machinery of administrative domination and established to facilitate effective control and exploitation of the colonized societies. The white man was the district commissioner, right? And they will pick 1 or 2 black people to be the deputies, and they'll do the bad work for them. Until we had our independence in 1957. In Ghana, everybody was happy about it, to be the first black African country to have independence south of the Sahara. But what happened to it? Nothing. They came back, and then underneath everything, they propped the new government, and then he became a dictator. And then they were getting exactly what they had even before independence came. And it happened all through independent Africa. So right now, you can see that most African countries have some presidents who have been there for God knows how many years. Mugabe was pushed, literally pushed outside. He couldn't even walk. I mean, like that. 91 years. What do you want again in this life? Right? Paul Biya in Cameroon is still there. Museveni in Uganda is still there. Who else? Omar Bashir in Sudan is still there. Gabon, excuse me, he is still there. Why can't we think about our countries and our people and give them the best that they need? Dr. Polk, maybe I'll have to go back home and make me a president. Seriously, I have to run for a president somewhere, because some things don't make sense at all, right? Anyway, there is, I think this is also part of the problems there, because they were imposed and maintained by force. I mean, colonialism, without the consent of the government, the colonial states never had effective legitimacy of normal governments. That's true. We just walked through it. We just walked through it, and that's it. The white man was doing everything with the cloud of Christianity around everything. Remember, I could stay in Holy Adao at 6, and then I have to serve a mass at 7, and then sing in the the high mass at 9 or 10. Every Sunday. You don't do it, you don't eat. That's the thing. And all our parents did the same thing. The white man talks, that's it. So I don't see any difference. And I sat down listening to John, and he was saying exactly the same thing that we've gone through. So it's just like a follow-up of what blacks did in Africa, across the ocean and back to the United States, and it's still there. All right, so we have a problem. They were bureaucratic because they were administered by military officers and civil servants who were appointees of colonial power. All right, so this is what we have right now. Or this is the one we had before. Please look at this and then check with the one we saw at first. This is the colonial map of Africa. Now look at the land occupation, the legend over here, and it tells you Belgium. Where does Belgium come from? Who are they? This country here is about 5 times the size of Belgium. So how come Belgium? Where did they come from? Did they fly or what? No. Belgium will go to Britain and get an Englishman and, okay, you become my surrogate or whatever, and come do my dirty job for me. And like John said, kill all the pygmies and all that, and get the land, and then Belgium is the first one, right? The scramble start maybe started from here, right? Erica, you're a historian. Right? It's because this is where the wealth is, right here. Diamonds, gold, everything right there. Then they talked about the good lands, the fertile lands to the east, Kenya, right here. And then they look at this part here, the Portuguese and the Spaniards over here, and say, oh, they have oil. Okay, let's go there. So everything across the equator, please, hands off. Black people, you don't have any choice over there. Then they will go back north, and then, okay, let's see what we can do to these people. Well, they have gold here, they have oil here. They have diamonds right here. Right, so let's do the same thing to them. This is all Sahara right here. But yes, Sahara, yes, you can get something from it as well. Now, caveat, let me tell you, very soon, very, very soon, somebody will tell me that, yes, we're going to change the sands here and build hotels over here. It's coming. Right. Yes, they will turn all the sands, the desert sands over here into something, and somebody will make money out of that. All right. And then down up here, these guys are the Arabs. So, and they have the Mediterranean right here on top of it. So what can we do to these people? We have the Italians here, we have the French here, we have the Spaniards right here, right? And then even Morocco, we have some for the French coming over here. So the French had control over this, and maybe that one. Yes, Tunisia, and the Italians came over here. Yes, the Libyans are tough; they'll beat you up. And then the Egyptians are here. The Egyptians had to fight with who? They had to fight the British. So we have British over here, British down here, and then Ethiopian, we have the Eritreans, the Italians right there, and then Somaliland, the British and the Italians all over the place. So this is a very sad situation. We have been carved up into nothing. Look at all the rest are English colonies. These are all Anglophone or English speaking. Those ones here, Angola and Mozambique, are Portuguese. This is it's still French right now, but the Belgians have been there, the Germans have been there, and there's so much going on here. Ugandans are English, but there's some kind of connection right here. Cameroon have gone through German, have gone through French, and then now English. Cameroon is one country in Africa that has are bilingual. There's English speaking south, and then the remaining is French. Those French speakers think that they are better than the English speakers. So there's always conflict among these people. But they're the same people right there. In the same way, the Germans were down here, and now they're gone. The French are there. Let me tell you a short story. I was in Togo, I think 2012. I took some ROTC cadets to Togo. We traveled from Lomé down here up to Kara right in the north. The guys here are Elvis, they are more Ghanaian. And then the guys here are, they call them Cabri. The leader is a Cabri guy, and he stays right here. Everything that is good, everything military, everything that goes with money is up here. Of course, the capital is down here. So you will the military will travel from Lomé to Kara to train and come back here. It doesn't make sense. They have the naval headquarters in Kara. It's like naval headquarters in Kara. What kind of thing is that? They have all that. So it's just a little bit terrible. Back here is Burkina Faso, but all these browns here are all French territories, right here. And then you can go back here. This is Namibia. This is Namibia right here, and this is the old Botswana land, now Botswana, the only stable country in Africa right now, and the richest. because they have made use of their diamond money. Of course, Nigeria is rich, but this one here is rich. They have about 1.5 million total. Maybe right now it's gone up a little bit, but they don't have enough. The population is not that much, but this is a little bit stable. Down here is South Africa, and in between we have Lesotho and the Kingdom of Swaziland. Right. These landlocked countries should not be what they are. They should be part of South Africa, but that's the way it is. Now look at the appendix right here, Madagascar. Most people do not even think or do not even know that this thing is right here. But if you want to look at all the flora and fauna, best vegetation, or everything that nature has to give right here in Madagascar. And the French is there as well. So this is Africa for you. Our local languages and dialects are all gone. We believe in going to or traveling to Paris for medical checkup if we are we were colonized by the French. We believe in going to Britain or United States for medical checkup if we're colonized by the English. And it goes on like that. It's part of us. People feel that it is some kind of they have some pride in traveling outside the country. Everybody wants to travel out. And I would think that this is part of the colonization, that it's been in us. We cannot run away from it. We have grown with it. So this is it. Down here we have some small islands, Sao Tome and Principe and all those. They are all right here, and they are rich as well. And again, we have Comoros and the rest, also Reunion. These are islands over here. These are all parts of the 54 countries that make up Africa. Don't accept anyone telling you that Africa is a country. Africa is a continent. It has 54 different countries, different people, different traditions, different religions, and so on. Now, talking about religion, well, Mom will tell me that, yes, if you mess around with me, you're gone. What? Yes, I'll go to the bush, pick leaf here, 1, 2, 3, put them together, wrap it like that, talk to it, you're gone. Easily. Can you do that? Yes, I can. And we believe in those. So we'll attend Mass, but still we believe in the leaves. And it's everywhere. People have their own religious practices that we work with. Now this is what I was talking about. Look at it. So why are we poor? This is Africa for you. From the Horn of Africa right here to this part. Look, they say fish. I don't even know where they got fish from. This is not the best map I can get, but at least it tells you it's representative of what we have. This place is not oil. This place should be gold. Look at the uranium right here, cotton, petroleum products. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. So there's no need that we should be, for us to be poor. We should be doing something to help ourselves. We should not allow the effects of colonialism to pull us down unnecessarily. We have to work. Now this is the scramble right here, and I don't think we have more time to go through all that, but these are the people who scrambled for us. Belgium, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Spain. And then there were other established, there were other settler colonies in Algeria, Tunisia, South Africa, Namibia, and the rest, for the excess population that they had that were not doing anything, the homeless and all that. Okay, let's throw them back. Right. So in Liberia, for instance, yes, I understand some black folks were sent back to Liberia. Some black folk were sent back to Sierra Leone with nothing. How do we live lives when everything we had been taken apart? So Africa has gone through a lot. But I feel that, yes, this is not the end. We can still do something better for ourselves. Today, as I speak, the Chinese is going back to recolonize Africa. They are all over the place. Remember, Ghana still has gold. The Chinese came, and then just behind my mother's house, they used the machines, throw everything out there, and then they could extract gold from there. Ooh, Tony, you were sitting on gold and you didn't know it? That's it. So we have, as Africans, we should know who we are. We should know how to use our resources. We should know how to extract the wealth we have. We are not doing that. We do not want people to come from outside to dig the wealth for us and then use it. We don't want that. So basically, this is what I did. And most of you can have your own thinking about what is it. There are positive impacts and negative impacts. They help out with schools. Yes, it's correct. If you have been to Ghana, you know that. University of Ghana, Legon, it's good. Right. It started in 1952. But as you fly into Accra Airport and you are on this side, you could see it right down the hill. Beautiful. Beautiful. And it's still standing. And it's built on and run on the basis of any English university. Right. It's beautiful. The same happens to the University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. Beautiful. But why do we have to allow the white man to tell us what to do every time? That's my problem. There's one big hospital in Kumasi. That was where all of us were born. And it's still standing there. We couldn't build not even one ward to add to it. 50 plus years. Anyway, they built roads and railroads. Ask me where the railroads are right now. They're all gone. No trains are running again. No trains are running again. They forged new democracies and governments. Yes, we tried that, and they turned out into dictatorships. Someone might argue that they improved our economies with new technologies, bringing growth to the colonies. Yes, but to what effect? Most people today are very poor in most of our countries in Africa. And I can always talk about where I come from. There are young boys who have graduated from universities who can't work anywhere. There's no work because we cannot turn ourselves into doing things that will help our own people. Do I say that's the effect of colonization? I think so, a little bit. Because we've been told just to follow a pattern. And that pattern is not working. Britain is just like this. Ghana is just like that. Nigeria is this. But why can't we do something about our lives and make ourselves work? I was in Nigeria between 1985 and 87. You know what? At the time, 1 naira was $1. 1 naira, $1. So you could travel to London anytime you want. Yes, I had friends who would go party in London and come back on Monday to work. It was only 300 naira return. And I did it once. Just dance around, hop on the plane back to Kano, drive down. I bought a brand new car, brand new, with only 1 mile on it. 3,000 naira. And you know what? It's like a whole sea of cars. And I said, I want the one in the middle right there. They had to pull about 100 right here, about 50 right there, and get in the one I chose. Yes. You can ask any of the Nigerians here. It is true. What do we have right now? Nothing. We couldn't keep it running. We stole all the money and kept them in British banks. Anyway, let's look at the negative impact. Slavery, yes. Wars, riots, ethnic division, disruption of family and community life, starvation and poverty, yes. Forced cheap labor and loss of land, yes. Civil wars, oh, all over the place. Diminished powers and traditional cultures, no, everything's gone. Attempts at democracy ended up in dictatorships, and education run by Europeans present negative views of Africa. Negative views, those were the things that brought me here in front of the podium. Negative views. People think, like, let me, I was driving home around 11, right? Say, right now, when I want to go home to Gainesville, it will take me about 2.5 to 3 hours. One night I was in Gainesville around 11. Park over there, I park. Do you know why I stopped you? Nope. Step outside, I stepped out. How many bottles have you taken? What? Bottles of what? Go right over there. I wait. Where do you stay? Where do you live? Right there in Covered Bridge. You? Yes, me. Okay? Then he goes back to his, the trunk and brings something, put it in my mouth, and then blow into it. I blew into it. Okay, you're lucky. He gives me the tip, and then says, you can go. Why that? Why should we go through this? Can they do the same thing to other people? No. Right. I was not worried about it. He was doing his work. But some of the things that went through, I just didn't know what was going on. Right? So we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful. We need to be careful about the things we say, even how we say it, because it goes way out there. One thing I need to tell you, Africans can forget, but it's very hard to forgive. Once you say something to hurt them, they'll forget it. But forgiving you, it takes a long time. At least I know of the Ghanaian. At least I know of the Ashanti. So let's be very careful what to say. Right. These are some of the negative effects, and we've talked about them, and that's it. All right, can we have the lights on, and maybe we'll take a few questions. All right.
I'm sorry, I had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Tony, I read yesterday that there are some members of the AU, or ECOWAS, who are trying to unite under a single currency. What effect do you think that's going to have on West Africa?
Can you repeat the question too, that she just asked for the mic?
Oh, the question is, members of ECOWAS, that is the Economic Commission of West African States, running from Dakar, Senegal, to Nigeria. Cameroon, I don't think is part of it. We are thinking of running on one currency. And is it possible? Nope, it's not possible. Why? Because the Francophone countries have lived on CFA for God knows how many years. And moving from the CFA to the city that is Ghanaian, or the Naira that is Nigerian, is going to create a whole lot. And the assimilation policy, assimilate, what they call it in the Francophone countries, is such that their minds are quite different from Nigerians, quite different from Ghanaians. Again, let me give you a story. When we went to Togo, we had a dinner, a grand dinner, where everyone was there except for the president. All the big shows were there. And one service chief asked me, "You are not military, so why are you here?" I told him why I was there, and He said, you have an accent. It looks like you are from this place. I said, yes, I'm from Ghana. Which part of Ghana are you from? And I said, Ashanti. And all of them started laughing at me. I'm Ashanti. And all of them started laughing. I was like, okay, what have we done? So I wanted to go back home. Anytime I went back home, I said I was going to ask the king about what history is there between French Togo and then Ashanti in Ghana. So that's it. We cannot do that. It will throw everything out. Another question. Yes, Erica?
Question about Botswana. So what happened in the Botswana narrative that allowed them to chart a different course?
That's very interesting. What happened in the Botswana narrative for them to chart a different course? Botswana has been out there in the middle of nowhere. But luckily for them, they had the diamonds to go for it. They had all the wildlife to go for them. They had all the love for country first to go for them. That's big though. I don't know all the history, but I have been with Botswanans when I was in grad school, and you could see that any Botswanan lady or gentleman coming in came to OU with fees fully paid, and they were paid every month. So going back to your question, I think that Botswana had this whole idea of being incorruptible. Now, I mean, maybe that's not the right word, but corruption was not part of the game. They believe that, yes, this is our country, this is what we need to do to make it stronger. One thing you should know about Botswana, at the point, they have one of the highest rates of HIV, right? They had that. But for now, they've changed everything. It's part of the narrative too. They've tried to go away and then they've killed themselves. Those who died out, fine. But now they have gone through all the therapies and think about, yes, this is what we need to do to make our country what it should be. And keep our 1 million or 1.5 million the way it is. So for now, I think that's what I can say about Botswana. But they have money and they use the money wisely to help their people. And I have so many Botswanan friends whose kids are studying medicine here, studying engineering there, and after everything they go back home. They are not like Tony. I can't go home. I'm still here. So once they finish, they're gone. Once they finish, they're gone. That's it. South Africans finish school, they are gone. Botswana, they finish school, they're gone. Tanzania, they finish school, they're gone. Kenyans, they finish school, they're gone. Ghanaians, Nigerians, they finish, they're still here. They marry, they get paid kids and all that, they're still here. So why can't we go home too? That's a big question. I don't know the answers to that. Any other question, please? Yes.
You kind of just touched on the question I have to ask, but with the money received from Botswana, do they choose to put it into research for like diseases such as sickle cell anemia and HIV?
Repeat the question.
With all the money that Botswana has, do they put it back into research to help with sickle cell anemia and maybe HIV? Yes, they did that, or they do that. The government is such that they are trying to make sure that they rid themselves of HIV. That's a big one. And most Botswanan ladies that I worked with or I studied with in school were all about HIV and how best they can research into it and then cure it or find ways to minimize the effect of HIV. So I think they are using a whole lot of money into research to help their people move away from that scourge of HIV/AIDS. And that does not mean that other countries do not have AIDS. Yes, a whole lot of Africans do have AIDS. And today, with all the westernized thinking, go to Africa, go to Ghana, and little kids, all they know is to do the twerking or whatever they call it, throwing their wits about in public. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. That's all they do to it. So what goes on from twerking to what? To the real stuff, isn't it? Boys don't have anything to do, so they twerk and they do their zonto, and then next, what? So we need to be very careful. We are killing ourselves unnecessarily, right? So it's not just the colonizers who put us in this way. We should be able to think that yes, the colonizers did what they had to do, but now they're gone. So what can we do to lift ourselves up? That's it. Back in the days, middle school, high school, university, traveling outside country and back for about 40 years. Anytime I went to church, I was a choir director, whatever. We had everything in it. Hammond's organs, pipe organs, anything. Now, no one knew how to play that. I knew how to play that, but yes, I like to be that. I want to conduct, right? So we had all the choirs singing without organs. Those were the last 40 years before I left. I left home 20 years back. Now, one thing that has changed in the music world, now the kids coming up right now can play any sheet music, anything off head. So you get a small choir, we have about 5 people on keyboards playing the same thing. So why can't we use that to what? Uplift ourselves economically, right? Do you get my drift? Everybody's playing right now. Hallelujah chorus. Oh, you don't need a sheet. Holy Ada, oh, that's cheap. They play with only one hand. So why can't we do the same for economics, right? To help our country move the way it should be. That's what we're losing out. Yes?
It's not a question, but I like that everyone is interested in Botswana. It's a good country to look at, considering that it's still a liberal democracy, but it has like aspects of social democracy. Like the first president of Botswana, he treated the government as a trust and used the young developing diamond industry to put money back in the infrastructure and the healthcare and the education. And I feel like we as people should move to that type of thinking where the state should provide for us and develop a welfare for us to be able to treat things. Like if we have a development infrastructure, we can do stuff like commercially. If we get the education up, we can like, compete in the global economy, stuff like that. It's something to take from Botswana.
Thank you. That's cool. As Africans, we should not be fighting amongst ourselves like Kenyans are doing, right? Raila Odinga and then the other one all telling the whole world that we are all presidents. Come on, man. You can't be two presidents in the same country. There's no sense in that. Someone should be the president, and we should all back him up. Just like my son is saying, and then use the money to help people raise themselves up, not using the money for ourselves. All African heads of state have $1 million jets. Dang, they don't have airports. They don't have airports.
Okay, so there's a couple of things.
Yes.
When I traveled to Kenya, I noticed 2 things, which I really can clearly see, which was holding back people from doing exactly what you said, because that was my question. One is the firm control Europeans have over the educational system.
That's correct.
What I saw is that they were taught from very young to be obedient, to be receptive, but also to serve Europeans.
That's it.
So the brightest minds that come out of schools are taught to be obedient and serve Europeans and emulate Europeans. But the reason why we can't make those changes like you're talking about is because the youth are trained from very young to work against their country rather than to support it and uplift it. And then there's the second thing. We really underestimate the power of those external powers, those colonial powers, those Europeans. In order to do what Botswana did, you have to have control over those borders. And you have to have a firm belief and connection with the people. And what the Europeans did was really played up those differences between the different ethnic groups and led to a lot of ethnic tension, which made it unlikely for those things to happen. But there's two things that we will have to do. You will have to firmly radicalize the educational system and take it away from European powers. And that might mean wrestling it away from some Africans who have been in control for a very long time. So you'll have to do that and then steer the curriculum towards building your own nation. You gotta retrain the youth. And then secondly, you're gonna have to get control of your powers and get control of your resources. And that means going against China and the United States and Britain, who played very, very dirty. And I saw when there was some cases where they were growing tea leaves in order to sell to the Europeans. So they were growing on their land in Kenya. And so there was a big argument over how much money they were getting for tea in order to sell to the British. And some of the farmers decided to band together and to demand more money because they were supplying all this tea that was just sent over to Britain. They put little tea packets and then sold it back to the Kenyans for 3 times the amount. It was like, we need more money because this is Kenyan tea. And the British came in and totally broke that strike and totally put those farmers down. And until you can have control of your borders and be able to protect your country against these external influence and change your educational system, that's the way that we're going to be able to do what you're saying.
All right.
Lift our people up.
But you have to also,
Kenya.
you also have to address the language barriers. Because if you have one country that is speaking French and the next one is speaking Portuguese, how are they going to work together
There we go.
to take over their educational system?
Everything is geared towards the big man over there on the other side.
They've done a good job, basically.
Of course, and they still do it. All right, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming up. I appreciate everything. Thank you very much.